Hello everyone and welcome back to another Batman miniature game 3rd edition battle report, and today in this 350 rep match we have the newest releases for the Batman slash Bat family crew, and it's the latter being played today, versus the Riddler, featuring the newest releases themed around the Batman, the Robert Pattinson Batman movie. On the table you can see before you, so without further ado, there's a lot to cover funding wise, so let's get on with that and see how well my memory holds up. So there's just 4 miniatures in the Bat family, as is often the case, so this is the easier of the two to cover, being led by the new Batman, which is Batman Classic, and his Robin, which is Robin Classic. Fairly run-of-the-mill Batman. He's got Bat Armor, MK2. He's got a new move called Groundwork to kind of cycle the objective deck a little bit. He's got Vigilante's work, Batcape, Batclaw, Detective, that kind of stuff. The Robin can use his special action to give the Batman a free action, so they work very well together. Also bringing Alfred, the Intel support Alfred, and Batwoman. Gear-wise, Batman has the upgraded Batsuit and a magazine for more Batarangs. Robin has more Batarangs and... oh, actually, you know what? Sorry, no. There goes the memory. Batman's got the armor upgrade and he has handcuffs. Robin has the extra magazine and handcuffs. Batwoman has Mentor to give her hidden boss and martial arts training, because she doesn't have martial artists naturally. And then Alfred has been given Reconnaissance, which is a bit weird because he's not really on the table. You can give him it in the app though, so it appears to be a legal bit of gear to give him. That just means he can deploy out of deployment by 8 inches. So I guess that kind of makes sense, like he could be hacking cameras further down the field and whatnot. So he'll be doing that, and I think that covers everything. So there's so many more miniatures in the Riddler crew, but so much less gear to cover thanks to them bringing a lot of people who have funding requirements, very high funding requirements. Killer Moth has a magazine for extra ammo, and the Riddler himself, the Robert Pattinson Batman Riddler, he has brought the upgrade that lets him place 2 suspect markers right at the start of the game. I think it's called Level Up. Then we've got his 3 henchmen. The one holding the bag has a quadruple blood sniper. He is exceptionally dangerous. The one who's holding nothing actually has a 1-use hidden gun, and the other one's just kind of a run-of-the-mill. They have a role where they can all kind of take hits for each other if they want, because they might not really be Riddler. That's the theme there. And because they come to such a low rep cost, leaves lots of room for someone like Deathstroke the Terminator, who is exceptionally scary. He's taken his modified assault rifle and bastard sword as well. Then we have Killer Moth, as explained, and Condiment King just filling up some extra space. So for a Riddler crew, it doesn't really focus on killing, it just mostly focuses on suspect marker dominance. There's a lot of scary, scary guns in here. So we'll see how that goes at deployment. So we are all set up and good to go. The Bat family are deployed to your left and the Riddler crew are to your right. Riddler crew 1 first activation, and the Bat family also have 3 passes due to the number of models difference. And because there's only 4 of them, the Bat family all have the Audacity markers. Batwoman there, Batman and Robin there, and Alfred with his Reconnaissance deploying up there. You'll also notice that Deathstroke the Terminator is there. That's because he is scouting, so just before the game begins he can get a free move. He didn't use his full movement, he doesn't want to get ganked by the Bat family, so he moved over there. Alfred's in no danger because Alfred's not really there. He only takes damage from suspect markers being removed. We have Condiment King down here with Audacity for the Riddler crew. We have Riddler himself there next to 2 of his henchmen, and then the sniper up on the building there with Killer Moth. There is 1 Phase 1 card being played. The Riddler crew is putting Riddles of the Storm, into play. Enemy models reveal fewer suspects this round than friendly models do. Simple as that. It's worth 2. So that's the only card in play, and with that we can get started. Oh, we did forget one more thing before getting started. We've got Riddler's level up. He gets to place 2 free suspect markers. They have to be at least 4 inches away from deployment, and he has that same rule because it's integral to how the Riddler cards score. You have to put numeric counters on all your suspect markers. So there's a 1 up here with a 2 on it, and right in the far corner over there there's 1 with a 1 on it. So the game got started with Riddler Follower 2. That's the one who's kind of like stretching a rope. It counts as a grapple gun form. He didn't have Audacity though, but he did start next to the Riddler. He moved up, put down a suspect marker, and it's been given a numeric counter 3. Also during his turn, a question mark card has been placed face down on the table. At the point at which one of Riddler's suspect markers gets removed, we flip this over and see if it scores. So rather than immediately start using their passes, the Bat family actually activated Alfred, and he did a bunch of stuff. We have to do it in order. Started by putting down a suspect marker from where he... well, sorry, no, that's not even the first step. played I Work Best Alone, Birds of Prey card, but it can be included in Bat Family decks now. He put a 3 on that for putting down a suspect marker. But then he moved backwards to where you can see him, so he was within 4 of Batman and Robin, and then he's using his special action to immediately remove that suspect marker he put down, and using Batcave support, he picks a friendly model within 4 who does not have the cop rule, and then they get X+1 either attack or defense markers based on up to 3 suspect markers he can remove. He obviously removed 1, so 1 plus 1 is 2, so he gave +2 defense dice to Batman for the next time he rolls defense dice. Incidentally, the scary sniper Riddler thug up on the roof there, he does have a scope. It's a very, very dangerous sniper. Robin's got acrobat, so he's not too scared. Batman's positioned such that the truck is totally obscuring him from that particular angle, although it does ignore cover if he could see him. Batwoman, she probably, well, maybe. The traffic light's in the way. Maybe. She might be visible. She's on a smaller base, so it's a bit hard to tell from this angle. Need to look from the other angle. But they both have Bat Armor MP1 and 2, so they're not super scared by it. The most it could do to them is 4 because they wouldn't get the strength die. So it's not too dangerous, really. Famous last words, I suppose, but just pointing out why the Riddler didn't immediately go with him. Also, it doesn't gain them anything doing that. The other Riddler follower who's not the sniper on the roof activated, the one with a gun hidden somewhere on his person, didn't have audacity, but right next to the man himself, so he moved up and used that free inspired manipulate to put down the suspect marker. A 4 was issued to that, but then the Riddle of the Night was played for 1 as a resource. During a friendly model's activation, it can place a riddle marker within 4 inches, and he put it there, so it's kind of within 4 of both these markers. The way the riddles work is if an enemy model within 8 of a riddle marker does a manipulate action that is not to remove a suspect marker of the Riddler's, the opponent picks one at random, or not random, sorry, of their choice, and removes it, which may in turn trigger a scoring condition. It's to force reveals in case the enemy decides I don't want to do that. The first of a potential 3 passes was used by the Bat family, so Condiment King activated down here, and he moved very carefully, so he's well beyond, I think he's 3 inches out from the deployment, but he wanted to make sure he was not within the possible 16-inch threat radius of Batwoman. If she uses her Batclaw, it's 16 inches, otherwise it's 10. So he made sure that she can't base him from where he stopped, but he still put down a suspect marker as his turn, and that got given a 6, I think. Oh no, not quite every number is covered now. I don't think there's a 5. A second pass was used out of the 3 the Bat family have available to them, so the Riddler himself, or is it really him, who knows, activated and did another resource play. Riddle me that as a resource. Move the start of a friendly activation, move a friendly marker 4 inches. The number 3 numeric suspect marker was moved backwards 4 inches. Riddler, he's got 10 inches, all his follower goons only have 8, but he has 10. He moved up there and he has Puzzle Master, I think it's called. So when he does a manipulate to place a suspect marker, he can place 2 and place them within 6 instead of right on him. So he put 1 there, put a 5 on it, put 1 there, put a 6 on it. So they're running out. I think they can only put down 1 more. The Bat family's going to have to start doing something. So the Bat family activated Batwoman, and she did use her Batclaw, and she did go after Condiment King. Didn't go straight for him, just wanted to get close to him. And then did a manipulate action to put down a suspect marker right there, which met the scoring conditions for the League of Assassins card under their noses, which again can be included if you're playing Bat family these days. A friendly model places a suspect marker within 4 of an enemy suspect marker, which she did. She's also outside of 8 of the Riddler, the Riddle marker that is, so she doesn't need to do anything with that. Well, to give Batman and Robin something to think about, Deathstroke, the Terminator activated, moved his 10 inches here, and then cracked out that modified assault rifle which has assault and a red dot. But which one to attack was a bit of an issue. He did eventually go with Batman, but just to talk through the methodology, Robin's got acrobat. He doesn't have much endurance or willpower, but he's got acrobat, so he could dodge away 3 of those. He is also small and base 5 defense, which means small against ranged attacks would be defense 6, which is pretty ridiculous. So not too dangerous, he'd have to get exceptionally lucky. Batman, though, he's losing the strength die to his bat armor unless it's a natural 6, and he's defense 5 base as well. He opted for Batman. He had a reroll with the red dot. He needed 6s because of the -1 from moving and firing an assault as well. But he actually managed to get 1 through. So Batman took 2. He has 8 health normally. With the upgrade we bought him, he has 9, so he's 2 down from 9. Not too bad. Could have been a lot worse, and he didn't absorb the extra bonus defense dice because you don't roll defense dice for ranged. So it's finally time to see what this Batman and Robin can do. Robin activated and then immediately used his special action on support Batman. So as long as he can see Batman within 4 or 8 inches, I forget which, but either way they were next to each other, he can do a free move with Batman. It's kind of like how the Gordon and the Batman work from the Batman themed starter box. So Batman did a move, and this Batman is 12 inches base. That Bat Armor MK2 gives him another inch, so that's 13 inches base, making him one of the fastest Batmen, probably only second to the Vampire one. So if he uses his Bat Claw, yeah, he's getting like 19. That's pretty good. So either way, Batman just got moved up by that action. Robin followed behind and put down a suspect marker, but not before playing on himself the other I Work Best Alone, and a 4 has been placed on that. So if we roll a 3 or a 4 at the end of the round, it will score one of those cards, either for Alfred or Robin. However, he didn't manipulate with an 8 of that Riddler marker, which means the Riddler marker disappears, and one of his suspect markers randomly, well, you're supposed to select, but it's been randomly selected to be fair, and it was the 2. So this one goes away up here, and then we also flip over the face down card and see if that does anything. It was Riddle Me This. An enemy model reveals a friendly suspect marker that had a numeric counter with a value of 4, 5 or 6. It does not. So before we cover the next activation for the Riddler crew, the Audacity marker for Batman was wrongly flipped after his move. Obviously he hasn't had a turn yet, he can still fully act. Killer Moth activated, used his grapple gun to get down off the building down there, all the way on top of here. He didn't do anything else with his turn, he's mostly prepping for next turn. So there's still the sniper to go for the Riddler crew, but it is over to this classic Batman to see what he can do. So Batman activated, and it was that classic conundrum: if you can't do both, would you rather score a card or remove a threat? And he settled for removing a threat. He used his Bat Claw to get 19 inches. He went after that sniper, he had to. He's got sneak and sneak attack, so no efforts could be used in the part of his defense, and he's only defense 2. Because it's the end of the round, he did 1 effort anyway, just because. He's also obstinate, not that it mattered here. And the markers have fallen, but there's actually more under there. He did 14 stun, is the long and the short of it. So no cards scored on it, but that sniper is very unconscious, which means there's no more activations, I believe. So we're going to phase 4 of the first round. So then about round 1, that wasn't exactly super high scoring for either side. The unconscious sniper did not wake up, so he will still be down and out next turn. The card in play for the Riddler crew, Riddles on the Storm, does not score, because the Batman crew revealed more than they did, so that's discarded. But they do score phase 4. They scored the Riddles of the Night. At least 3 friendly suspects have a numeric counter with an even value. There's no 2 anymore, but there is 2 6s, so it still scores. So that's put them on the board for 2. The last thing we need to check is whether or not either of the I Work Bests alone score. So on a 3 or a 4, that would be a nope. They stay in play, and next round they can have some more numbers put on them as well, depending on what Alfred or Robin get up to. So here we are at the top of turn 2, and they had one unused pass, but the Bat family did not need it to secure first activation this turn. They just won the roll handedly. So they'll be taking first if they choose to. They do still have passes. They're obviously still outnumbered, and if they all go early, that means the back end is going to be nothing but Riddler activations, which can also be bad. There is one phase 2 card being played by the Bat family. It's Unveiling the Truth, and it's being played on Batman because he has the Vigilante's Work special rule, so he can do some free manipulates. Well, it costs him 1 stun, but he can work on this and still be doing other things rather than using up his entire manipulate. There's 3 phase 1 cards being played by the Riddler crew. They were waiting for a big turn. So it starts with Die Hard. It's being played on the thug next to the Riddler, the one behind him there. I can't remember which number that is, but it's being played on... Actually, why is it not being played on Deathstroke? It should be played on Deathstroke, because he's definitely going to die. Trying to do some funny shenanigans there, because if he got absolutely destroyed, could just pass it off to one of the other ones and he'd be totally fine. But why not just play it on Deathstroke to be safe? Yeah, Deathstroke will do. Then another Riddles on the Storm. Saw that last time. And then Moth Signal. Killer Moth's unique card. Choose a scenery element that is within 4 of a friendly model and at least 8 outside your deployment. You have at least 1 friendly model on that and a friendly suspect marker within 4. He's picking the container he sat on, and that's why he sat there. They were prepping for a big scoring turn. So we can look at who has Audacity down here. Condiment King has it for the Riddler, Batwoman. Well, all the Bat family have it because there's only 4 of them, obviously. Deathstroke has Audacity for Riddler's crew, as does the man himself, as does the henchman here, who is the one who has a one-use gun somewhere on his person. So Batman got the turn started and then immediately used the handcuffs given to him from funding to arrest the unconscious sniper to remove that threat entirely and score 3 points. get them off the streets, managed to get it into hand for this round. So that scored for 3. He wasn't done yet though, then he did a move. He's got a back cape, so he just descends down, keeps moving, and he moved into the back of this other thug who's also just defends 2, and walloped him. Did use sneak attack, so he couldn't effort, but he didn't effort for that. He managed to get him for 8 stun, so he is very unconscious. Then he's using his detective trait plus Vigilante's work to take 1 effort on himself, so that's why there's 1 damage there, to remove this number 4 suspect marker. That puts 2 markers on Unveiling the Truth as well, and all in all, he had a pretty effective turn. So the Riddler himself got turn 2 started for his crew. He left his followers kind of just to it, moved forwards 10 all the way down the table down here. Didn't manipulate to put down a suspect marker, so that means he puts down 2 within 4, and he placed a 2 on that one, a 4 on that one. I believe that's every number covered now, and then also placed a question mark card face down on the table. So the Bat family is going early and often this turn. Robin activated, he moved up to where you can see him in base to base with the knocked out henchman. He, however, put down a suspect marker and put a 3 on his card, so he's got a 3 and a 4 on his I Work Best Alone, and scored in doing so another under their noses, because he's right next to an enemy suspect marker. But then he used a special action to say, hey Batman, do a thing. Batman threw some batarangs at the other Riddler follower over there, who is also only defense 2, which I'm starting to notice their massive problem with them. Their negative, their obvious weakness. He is unconscious 6 waves from Sunday, because he's got 4 willpower. So he's unconscious as well, and won't be getting a turn. So it always feels like a bit of a waste if you have someone as high cost as Deathstroke and he isn't killing anyone every turn. But he activated, he moved over here, he removed the enemy suspect marker that had been placed by Robin last turn, I believe, and just barely met the criteria for confusion. It was literally 1 millimeter in it with where it was placed. Revealed 1 enemy suspect marker within 8 of the enemy deployment zone, so i.e. within 16, and yeah, made it by inches to score for 2. Well, Batwoman activated and decided to also remove a threat. The Riddler crew is dropping like flies. She walked into base to base with Condiment King. She's doing double stun, with crit stunned as well. She efforted a full 3 times. He's only got 5 in endurance and willpower, so he opted not to. In the end, he took a casual 10 stun, and she also did get the crit, so he would have been stunned on top of all that stun damage, which is a weird sentence to say. She interrogated him a little, which means Riddler gets her is forced to discard a card, puts it in spent resource pile, and she's got built-in handcuffs, so for her special action, she is arresting poor Condiment King, and he's getting to do nothing. It isn't relevant here, but she does also counter people who have run away thanks to her criminology rule, so if they did have that, they would not be immune to arrest. So the Bat family has actually played almost a perfect turn in terms of taking away activations that from people who haven't activated yet. Killer Moth's the last one to go for the Riddler crew, and he wants to stay up there because staying there with that suspect marker there is going to score him 3 at the end of the turn, and that's really valuable. So all he did on his turn, he didn't use any actions, he's just activating and unactivating, but he is putting into play the resource Riddle Me Softly, place a riddle marker within 4, so it's right there, just to again try and force some deliberate reveals to try and get other cards to score. But yeah, because of the way it's worked out, that his turn is over, and it's over to Alfred to end the turn. That was so fast for the entire round. So for Alfred's turn, he wanted to stay away from that Riddler marker, but he put into play the Soldier's Fortune card Cyber Attack. So you roll 1d3, rolled a 1, well a 2, so it became a 1, plus 2, so you pick 2 suspect markers, put the counters on them for 3 in this case, reduce it by 1 at the end of each subsequent model's activation. If both suspect markers are still in play, when they hit 0 you score it for 2, and Riddler doesn't really want to remove his own suspect markers, so that's why those blue dice are now there. That's counting down on those 2 suspect markers to get rid of them or score. Then he moved over here and put down a suspect marker so he could put another number on his I Work Best Alone, and he put a 4 there, so he and Robin are both on 3s and 4s. And with that, we are into scoring for the second round in what was a really quick round. So then about round 2, we have so many cards to cover and whatnot. Everyone who's conscious is healing 1 stun. On that note, the Riddler follower with the rope has actually managed to wake up, so he's just knocked down. The other one, however, stayed unconscious. There is one additional card being put into play. Oh, for the Bat family though, just to quickly cover, all the cards they've played except for rolling for the I Work Best Alone just stay in play. The Unveiling the Truth Cyber Attack that we just saw. So let's just quickly roll for the I Work Best Alone. 3 or 4, yes, both of them have scored. I think you're allowed to score both instances because they were played at different times. If that's wrong, then obviously they should have layered their numbers, like say 1, 2, 3, 4, or 1 and 6, 4 and 2, however, so they don't all have the same number. But because they were played at different times, I think they can both score, although there is a rule that you can't score 2 cards with the same name at the same time, which was probably a mistake. We'll see if it matters at the end of the game. If there's a 2-point difference, we can just write it off. Anyway, for the Riddler crew, he is playing a Riddle Me Softly. 3 friendly suspects that have odd value, yes, so that scores for 2. Their cards in play, Deathstroke was unharmed, so the diehard scores, that's them up to 4 there. The Moth Signal scores for 3, so that's another 3, and then enemy models reveal fewer suspects than friendly models. I don't think they revealed 1, and the Batman crew revealed 0 actually, didn't they? No, Batman did. Batman revealed 1, so it was a draw. So that does not score. So they still managed to get 7, which is really good. There's still a face down card as well. So, I'm just trying to think, was that face down card there when Batman revealed it? I don't think so. I think it was placed after because he went first this turn. So I think we're safe to go into turn 3 now. So we're at the top of the penultimate round, battle round 3, and once again the Bat family have taken first activation. They have no extra passes now though, because it's a draw for both sides for how many people there are left on the table, with the exception of one unconscious man who does not have Audacity. Everyone else does, so Batwoman down here, obviously for the Bat family there's only 4 of them, but Deathstroke, the Riddler, Killer Moth, and the knocked down but awake Thug. The one who's unconscious is just going to sit there, and with the Bat family going first, there's no cards being played by either side, so it's just the ones in play. So with that, to the first activation. So Robin, classic Robin, got the turn started and immediately arrested the henchman he was in base to base with, so that follower is gone. Scoring, get them off the streets, which is overly shiny, but there you go for 3. Good score there. Because he used a special action for that, he couldn't order Batman to do anything, so Batman's just standing there. He moved though, into base to base with the knocked down henchman, and then attacked him for a tactical action. Now this is Robin's disadvantage. He doesn't have reinforced gloves or anything like that. He's doing single stun, but he was hitting semi-conscious, knocked down henchman. So he still managed to get 2 punches through, so he is actually re-KO'd and will not be getting a turn now. So he did some good and scored some decent points. But that's it for his turn now. Oh, 1 point of note, haven't brought it up yet because it's not been relevant. He's been holding on to it constantly to run away from Deathstroke if he needs to. This Robin has Fast 3 specifically. So if Deathstroke was to get into base to base with him, he'd scarp her. That's why he hasn't used it yet. He's saving it to get away from Deathstroke. Deathstroke smelt blood and wanted to try and get it, so he moved into base to base with Batman, and upon completing that action, did you activate the riddle? Remove 2 friendly suspect markers within 6 of one enemy model, can only be played when a model completes an action. He removed the 2 marked by cyber attack, which were just within 6 of where Robin ended up, sadly. So that scores that for 2, but not only that, cyber attack doesn't score. It's discarded, because they are indeed removed. No point counting them down now. Then, he wanted to commit felonious assault with his double blood bastard sword. He and Batman both efforted a full 3 times, so it came down to the classic fight you never want to have, which is attack 5 versus defense 5. Although actually, because he's a weapon master, he only needed 4s. But all said and done, Batman fully blocked the damage. Remember to still roll the crit die, or the strength die, sorry, in case you get a crit when you're going up against Bat Armor MK2, because if you get the crit, it still goes through, unlike normal Bat Armor, which just negates it entirely. Oh, there was still something forgotten. Batman should have been rolling 2 extra defense dice there, which means he wouldn't really have needed to effort 3 times. So to just balance it out, he's losing that buff, but only taking 1 stun damage overall, just to balance everything. So the Batted Man activated and spent They Must Know Pain's resource cost to heal himself back to full blood. He then moved to the far side of the unconscious goon Robin punched out, used his special action to arrest him. Then he used Vigilante's work to get a free manipulate and the detective trait to get rid of the suspect marker that was north of him within 3 inches. And doing that means that the Riddler marker does not trigger anything because he did a manipulate. An attack action is a tactical action, not a manipulate, so that doesn't trigger anything. That was why Robin didn't either. But he still had an actual tactical action left because Vigilante's work is a free manipulate. So he chucked some batarangs at Killer Moth and got him good. Got him for 4. Which also scores because of his stealth when he started over by Deathstroke. They won't see me coming for a cheeky 1 point. Now here's part of the not plan. Because Batman revealed a suspect marker via Vigilante's work, that means the face down Riddler card gets flipped up and we see if it scores. An enemy model reveals a friendly suspect marker that had a 4, 5 or 6. I believe it had a 5, so this does score. So Killer Moth activated, and first of all, face down question mark card. So that's in play as his one objective card played this turn. He shot his cocoon gun for his tactical action into Batman. Managed to only hit him for 1 stun, which is, nothing. But the important part is it has -6 movement, because it's got slow 6. I know that only says -4, don't have a 6, but yeah. -6 inches is pretty significant. It basically writes off the grapple gun if Batman decides to use it. Then Killer Moth used his grapple gun, and as a special action, with his move, to run away down here. And then, for 2 resource points, which is all they have thanks to Batwoman, used riddles everywhere. You may place 3 riddle markers within 8 inches of a friendly model with the alias Riddler. 1 was already down, you can only have 3 max. 1 got put there, 1 got put there. Batwoman activated and removed the suspect marker she ended base to base in last turn to get an a comb through everything scored for removing an enemy suspect marker, which means we flip over the face down Riddler card. It had a 6 on it, and it needed to have a 1, 2 or a 3, so that is gone. That's a 3-pointer down the drain there. But also with her removing that, for the rest of her turn she used her back claw, hopped up onto the building up here. But upon her removing that, that means there is now only 3 suspect markers left for the Riddler. 1 over there with a 1 on it, and then a 2 and a 4 down here. And there's 4 markers because Batman's revealed 2 suspect markers so far for his Unveiling the Truth, so now there's more counters on the card than there are suspect markers, enemies ones. So Unveiling the Truth has scored 2. Last activation of the turn for the Riddler crew was the man himself. He immediately used a manipulate to put down 2 suspect markers because that's how he works. He put down a 3 and a 5, so 1 through 5 is now covered for them again. Just missing the 6. Then he moved ever so slightly between one of the suspect markers he put down and the Riddler marker there, just prepping for the next turn. So it's over to Alfred to end off battle round 3. Oh, forgive me, but I did forget to mention a question mark card was placed face down to be active as well. So Alfred, sitting back in the Batcave sipping some tea, moved his influence around to the far side of the truck there, put down a suspect marker outside of 4, the one he was in last turn, and scored the criteria for the Soldiers of Fortune card, Black Ops, which is hopefully in focus. There we are. A friendly model places a suspect marker within 8 inches of an enemy model that cannot draw a line of sight to the friendly model or the suspect marker. So at the end of the penultimate round, there's no wake-up checks, there's no cards in play to cover, well, the question mark card, but that's different. And there's no additional Phase 4 cards being played either. So with that said, all we can do is go into the final round and see how this all ends. Dawn of the final day, the top of turn 4. Obviously everyone on the table has their Audacity markers, they're all conscious, and there is only 3 and 4 respectively. Deathstroke, Killer Moth and Riddler, they've suddenly got outnumbered, so they also have 1 pass as well. There's 1 Phase 1 being played, and it is Riddles on the Storm yet again. We've seen this twice before already, so it's once again in play with their face down question mark scoring card. And the Riddler crew did get first activation. If they choose to, they could use their pass. Let's see. So the Riddler himself was the first activation, trying to cycle his deck a little bit. He played Riddle Me This as a resource to move an enemy marker 4 inches. He moved the suspect marker that had been over there into base to base so that he could immediately reveal it. And this is just a good time to point out this is something he does, even though it doesn't really matter. When this Riddler reveals an enemy suspect marker, if there's intel support on the enemy team, they take 2 damage instead of 1. So Alfred took 2 from that. He previously in the game took 1 from Deathstroke, but has since healed it. Anyway, the Riddler then ran down here just to be safe. Well, for lack of anything better to do to try and score cards in their hand, Batman activated -6 movement, leaving him with a total of 7 thanks to that Bat Armor MK2. Was still enough to get into base to base with Slade here. He efforted the full 3 times. Slade still has 2 on him, so he opted not to. He trusted in his defense 5, and that was the right choice, although his actual defense didn't really matter. He didn't need to roll defense dice. Batman on 5 and then the 3 extra dice couldn't get a single 5+. That unlucky. But at the end of his turn, for 2 resource points he's playing because it came back into hand, they must know pain to heal away 2 of that self-inflicted stun. Well, Slade Deathstroke activated and also tried his luck, because if he managed it, he would have got 4 victory points. He attacked Batman, and they both efforted a full 3 times each. with his double blood sword, and he did actually, now come to think of it, does that sword have rerolls on it? Well, he wouldn't have got handy, but it does have sharp, so you know what? And devastating. He would get another roll on the old, no, wouldn't have mattered. Okay, fair enough. So it happened as it is. He did manage to get 3 hits through, not the strength die though, because it needs to be crits. He did 6 blood, not enough to kill Batman, so no scoring 4 victory points. Then he retreated a little bit, just down there. Batwoman activated from up on her perch. She used her bat cape to glide down, and then ran up into Slade and tried to take him down. She efforted 3 times. His willpower damage is getting quite high, his stun on his willpower anyway, so he did not. He trusted in his defense again, and she only was able to get 1 hit through, which, thanks to his Kevlar vest, which I think was forgotten when Batman hit him like 2 turns ago, he can reduce down to taking a single stun. So that puts him at 6 in total of his 8. He's up there, but if he'd gotten knocked out, she could have arrested him, and that just would have been like the icing on the cake, but nope. So there's nothing Killer Moth can do to score anything, so he simply hid behind the car there. I don't know if Alfred can do anything either, so it's really up to Robin and also his ability to make Batman do something, just to see if they can knock Slade out for fun. So unfortunately Robin was going to tell Batman, hey, throw batarangs at Slade, but he's used up all the batarangs he has, so ordering Batman to do anything wouldn't change anything, he can't attack him. So Robin activated, he moved to where you can see him, he chucked his own batarangs, and he came so close. 1 hit got through, which would actually be enough to knock Slade out, and then he could have used fast, moving to base, and Robin could actually have arrested Deathstroke, which would have been hilarious. Sadly though, that Kevlar vest flips that down to a 1. Slade stays conscious with 1 health remaining, so he managed to live. He is very, very tough. That takes us to the end of the final turn. So before we go see the final scores, there was 1 card in play, there's no others being played. It was a Riddles on the Storm, and it does actually score because the Riddler revealed 1 suspect marker and the Batman crew revealed none. So that scored for 2. The face down card doesn't score anything, but if you were just curious what one it was if a 4, 5 or 6 got removed by the enemy. So nope, that does not score. With that, let's go see who's won. So here is the 2 score piles. Just going to move this stuff out the way here. I'm not going to count both the Our Best alone. They shouldn't have scored at the same time. I should have put different numbers on them. In hindsight, obviously, forgot that you can't score 2 of the same card in the same phase. So we're not going to count those 2 points. When we get to both of them, I'll just discount one of them. But let's see what the final scores are, starting with the Bat family. So it's 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12... 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Not very high scoring, honestly. The lack of snitches in the Bat family decks now, it hurts. But 19 plays. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. There was 1 point in it. What could either side have done? Well, if Deathstroke had managed to take down Batman, he would have been removed from the table as well as part of his objective card, but it scores for 4. That would have comfortably given them the win. If they had managed to take out Deathstroke, I don't think that would have scored them anything. No, they would have had to take out Riddler to get back to Arkham scored. Oh, they had to get them off the streets. If they'd knocked out Deathstroke and scored the final get them off the streets, that would have secured the victory. As it is, though, it was a very close match. Didn't really see... I mean, the new Riddler followers did nothing. They're very, very fragile. Did not realise they're all defense 2. That, I guess that's to make up for the 2 out of the 3 having really good guns, which thankfully they didn't really get to use because this team's kind of catered to make it hard to shoot them, with Robin being essentially defense 6 and an acrobat, Batman having stealth, Batwoman just kind of, I don't remember if she has acrobat actually. Does she have acrobat? She doesn't. You feel like she should, but she doesn't. Either way though, she's got bat armor though, so that negates the strength die. He's got MK2, which also helps. So we didn't really get to see how the thugs acted. As far as the Riddler, I think the Jim Carrey parody Riddler Intel support is probably better in terms of fitting to the table and the other goons. This Riddler only really gels with his ones because he can pass over damage to them, and vice versa if they want, although we didn't really get the chance for that. But either way, a close match. Nice to see some new models on the table. I really like that Batman-Robin combo. That was very effective. It would work in a Batman crew or a Bat family. They work really well together, and the Robin is super cheap. How many rep is he? He's like 40? 50 with 100 funding. Not too bad at all. It does different things to someone like Damien. Obviously, he's much more cooperation focus, giving Batman extra actions. Got to keep Batman near him, and he doesn't have a Batclaw, the Robin doesn't. So you've got to be a little careful with working around that. Or you could just buy him one, I suppose, if he's allowed any. In Bat Family, I don't think you can buy extras. Either way, I sincerely hope you enjoyed watching. If you want to support what we do here, consider pressing the thanks button, becoming a member, or just checking out the Patreon. It's all reinvested in supporting what we do here. Until next time, thank you for watching again, and ta-ta for now.